why are you complaining about Nigerians not supporting you? But I can see through everything that the guy has done. Actually, Shatawale or whatever he calls himself, and he's a smart guy. What he's done basically is to get a lot of attention from people who would usually not talk about him, people who do not know nothing about him, probably don't care nothing about him. But here we are, you know. So that's that for that. And I had a little bit of chat with people on social media. I don't know what you guys think. So I kept on saying to people that, okay, can you just make me understand, what the guy, and people saw reason. And one of the things that I was hoping for is that we actually just ignore this guy. Like, we've given him too much attention. We talked about him too much, and it's really not a nice thing for us to dwell on, because it's obvious that this is what the guy was all about, and he has achieved it by calling out an entire country. It's a funny thing, but hey, it is what it is. So that's one of the things that we were going to talk about yesterday, but today there's no need to discuss anything about Shatawale or anything. There's a lot of stuff happening in and around Nigeria, political issues here and there, talks of the president about to sign the what's it called now, the electoral why he didn't sign it, but the budget, actually, the budget is ready, and it looks like it's been sent to Mr. President, and it looks like Mr. President might be signing it and all of that. But one of the things that I actually wanted to talk about is an interesting story that is online. It's on Channels TV, it's on Tribune, and a couple of other media platforms. And I'm sure we're all used to this thing that happens in Nigeria. I talked about a little bit of it yesterday when Senator Sonny, former senator from Kaduna, called out, jokingly, but I know he meant it, called out Primate Ayodele or something, who had gone ahead to predict that the Super Eagles will not win the AFCON. So he said Super Eagles will not win the AFCON, but you didn't predict who will win the AFCON. So, but we're so used to getting a lot of people who come with all these doomsday prophecies, especially towards the end of the year. They're going to tell you what's going to happen in 2022. There was a time it was a thing. Some of them will even publish books about it, and they will make people buy them at their church services and their overnighters and everything. And it was a thing. But look, personally, I think that we should have outgrown some of these things. We should have outgrown some of these things. We should have outgrown them, because they are not as real as we want them to be. Case in point, no pastor, no preacher, no priest, no imam or alfa or seer or babalao could come out, or dibia, to tell us that there was going to be coronavirus and that it was going to last this long. Coronavirus is going into its second year now, and the experts are predicting that if we're lucky, it might not last a third year. Might not. But with the Omicron variant that's spreading like wildfire, we're not sure that prediction will work anymore. But we pray it does, and that life will go back to normal. But I'm not sure we can really go back to normal again. Like, how normal can life be? Some of us will still wear masks in public. We're still going to be putting on, face mask and all of that. Some of us will try as much as possible not to shake hands. And a lot of people might get offended. So because you're stretching your hands towards me and I'm giving you a knuckle, and I'm like, knuckle. And some people just grab your hand. Some people just pull back and look at you like, what are you feeling like? But we're just protecting each other, because the hand is one of the easiest vectors. It's one of the easiest ways to transmit the virus from one person to another. Not necessarily coronavirus alone or COVID-19, but even other viral infections and stuff that you can get. You could touch a surface and shake someone's hands. Doesn't necessarily mean that you even have it. It could be that you touch the surface, a doorknob, door handle or something, and this happens. You understand? So handshakes and stuff are more or less like getting outdated now, and people are just getting, to understand. Oh man, we can even hit our elbows together and look for different ways to acknowledge each other. So trying to go back to normal. So how come no preacher, no pastor, nobody could predict and tell us that, oh, there's going to be coronavirus, it's going to be a global pandemic. It's in China now, they shut down, I think it's Jian City, and it looks like the Chinese authorities are expanding the lockdown in that particular part of China because it's spreading, and they're trying to contain it. That's how serious it is. The numbers are on the up. Go check out the American numbers, check out the British numbers, check out the German numbers, the French numbers. The numbers are on the up and up. In Africa, even in Nigeria, the numbers are crazy. 2 days ago, it was 8 deaths. The numbers for yesterday was 2 deaths. So people are dying. People are indeed dying. So we need to be wary of these prophecies. If something that big, something that huge, something as big as a global pandemic was not caught by any preacher, how come you're now preaching and you're now prophesying or predicting? So I'm not going to take you serious, because you need to tell me now what's going to happen in 2022 and tell me that, corona disappears at this point in time or doesn't. But none of you are talking about it. They're skirting around it. They're avoiding that thing completely, and they're back with their doomsday predictions. But there's something that's happening in Ghana that I love so much. Apart from the rabble-rouser called Shatta Wale, who's just some kid trying to grab attention for himself. Now, the police in Ghana have warned religious leaders. They have warned all the seers, all the people who come with all these doomsday prophecies, that they might end up in jail. So you're out there and you've already prepared your doomsday prophecy and all these things that you say will happen. Now the police authorities in Ghana are telling them that they need to be careful the kind of utterances that they make. They actually put it in a proper press statement titled Ghana Police Service Statement on Communication of Prophecies and Legal Implications. Wow, there are legal implications to these prophecies and predictions. So guys, I'm sure everybody has experienced it before, where someone tells you, one person is going to be president and then one person will be governor, and all of these predictions, we know. Look, maybe when we were young and we were afraid to talk, but now we're not babies. We're going to tell it as it is. How come you were predicting? I'm still asking. And any preacher out there that is angry or feels that I am off point should come and tell me right here, right now. How come you guys, none of you saw that corona was coming? That's the only one I'm hinging it on. So a preacher spoke a few days ago and said the Super Eagles will not win AFCON. But you didn't tell us who will win AFCON. What kind of prediction or prophecy is that? So I hope that other governments in Africa, because this is an African problem, and majorly a Nigerian and Ghanaian problem. I don't know about the other countries, but I know that Ghana and Nigeria, every year they have doomsday prophets who come out to say, oh, this is going to happen. And most times, these things don't happen. They don't happen the way you say they're going to happen. And we know that God is not a God of confusion. God does not mix things up. When he says it will happen, it will happen. So if God really sent you, if God really called you and asked you to predict or tell people what's going to happen, it will happen. So how come none of you heard from God when corona was coming? That's my question. So in Ghana, what they're saying is that anybody that is coming with a doomsday utterance, might find themselves in prison. According to the authorities, over the years, communication of prophecies of harm, danger, and death by some religious leaders has created tension and panic in the Ghanaian society. So, in all, what I'm really picking this story for is that I hope the Nigerian police follow suit and borrow a leaf from the Ghanaian police service by also telling people to be careful the kind of things that they predict. You've already started hearing them, oh, this person will be president, this one will die, somebody's... Come on. If you really even have these predictions and you have this, whatever it is that, revelations that you have, why don't you reach out to the people that you really see in just your seance or your dreams and everything and tell them what it is? Tell them. You really need to tell them. But, for clout and everything, so that more people are going to flock to your church or your parish, and they're going to come and say, oh, this guy, he predicted this and it happened and all of that. I don't know, man. But shout out to the Ghanaian police service, though. They're really, they're really doing the right thing, by my opinion. They said, let me read another part of this. It says that the Ghana Police Service wishes to place on record that the police are not against prophecies. We acknowledge that the Ghanaians are religious people who know and believe in the centrality of God in their lives. But the police wish to assure all religious organizations that they are committed to ensuring maximum security during the 31st December night thing. And again, that's another tradition in Nigeria that's like, last year, Corona really curbed it a bit, but I know this year there's banners everywhere now. There's posters. Everybody's already advertising, the 31st of December, which happens to be a Friday night, So here's what's going to happen to a lot of people. They're going to be hanging out at the beer parlor and the clubs. This happens all the time. But now it's the Friday night, so it's going to get worse. A lot of people are hanging out and they're chilling. And suddenly, they look at the clock. They're checking the clock and they're counting down. And they're like, oh, it's 1 hour to go. And they look for the nearest church. Or they go to a church that they had already planned to go to. And make their way into church until it's 12. And there's a prayer and all of that. And most churches will stop whatever they're doing at 12 midnight to shout, Happy New Year! You get. Some churches would just continue praying and they won't acknowledge that until later. But a lot of people that I know are just going to leave their drinks and whatever it is they were doing and make a way into church. And when they're done with church, then they leave from church, of course, back to the club or back to the pub or back to whatever it is they were doing. So I'm not trying to criticize your lifestyle, but I'm trying to understand it. A lot of people feel that, if they do not ring in the new year inside church, then there's going to be funny things. Maybe what you're thinking is, if you don't do it, then your year will be funny. Or, I don't know. Or if you don't do it, you'll probably die, But it's all good in the hood. And I'm just talking about stuff that is happening in and around us. But one thing that I know for a fact is that God is everywhere. And God is love. And His love is abundant. There's grace for all of us. I'm not asking you to misuse it. I'm just saying that at times it's not that deep. So big shout out to the Ghanaian Police Service again, and that story you can find on Channels TV, on Tribune, I think PM, and a couple of other, top